So Fred, let's pick up where we left off. We just got done talking about what an NFT actually is, or maybe what it isn't. Let's talk now about what IP rights are present in NFTs.
Sure. So first of all, I think it's important to point out that this is very much an evolving area of the law. I mean, this is the definition of an evolving legal field, and pretty much in all jurisdictions around the world, we are seeing legal systems responding to things that are happening, right? So it's important to keep that in mind, that we are going to be, most likely we are going to be seeing developments in the way that NFTs are approached from an IP angle and from other angles as well. And also, it's important to stress that jurisdictional issues are also very important. Different jurisdictions are going to be approaching the issue of NFTs differently and at different speeds. So that's important to keep in mind as well. What might be true for the US might not be true for Europe and so on. So first of all, and we've already discussed this today, but I think it's a fundamental point that people should understand. To me, if there's only one takeaway from today for the audiences, NFTs by themselves are not going to grant you ownership in whatever it is that the NFTs are connected to. If the NFT is connected to digital artwork, cat, what do they call them? The kitties, or special characters, whatever it is, it's not granting ownership over that. There's separate ownership rights over that, separate intellectual property rights. And those are not going to be implicated merely by issuing a token, right? By minting a token, in connection to that asset. So if you're looking at the technical aspects of the NFT minting, there is going to be some copyright that is implicated there, right? There's going to be some original work similar to that which is present when code is written, right? So there is copyright in that, but that has to be distinguished. It's in fact, it's essential to distinguish that from copyright in what assets that are connected to this NFT. So to put that in plain language, if you're purchasing an NFT that gives you access to that unique copy of, let's say, a very popular meme, that is not at all impacting the copyright over that meme. However, as the creator of that NFT, you would have copyright over that, over the metadata that is being included in that as part of that NFT. This all said, depending on the particularities of the NFT transaction, there might be a transfer of intellectual property rights. So I could sell Jonathan an NFT with a particular image that maybe a photograph that I took, right? It doesn't have to be something created on a computer, right? It could be a photograph that I've saved on my computer. And I could say, as part of the NFT transaction, I could say that I'm assigning copyright. So the conditions, the specific contractual terms, or if you're working with a platform, the specific terms and conditions can be drafted up in a way that does bring about a transfer of intellectual property rights, but it's not happening automatically, right? Look at NFTs as a tool that can be used in different ways. And as you were saying earlier, Jonathan, right? There's the potential for licenses, right? It's not just direct transfers of intellectual property rights. There might be more nuanced arrangements where I maintain copyright in the artwork that I've produced, but give you a license, right, to use it in certain conditions. In addition to copyright, there could very well be some interplay between trademark rights and NFTs. To give one basic example of this, if you could potentially create an NFT that involves the use of a trademark, right? It could be a famous trademark, or it could be a trademark that's not famous, but that I have created for use in connection with my own goods and services. So there can potentially be issues there of both from the point of view of making sure that your trademarks are protected, but also from the point of view of infringements upon the trademarks of others. This is again where we're talking about something at the leading edge of law at the moment, but it is something to flag. If you are minting an NFT that is connected to an image of any sort that includes a registered trademark, or doesn't even have to be registered for that matter, so as long as it's somebody else's trademark, you have to proceed carefully because there could be an infringement of trademark rights. And of course, when we talk about trademarks, it's not just about the NFT itself, right? If you have if you're selling NFTs in connection to a business, right? Maybe you want to use the NFT to promote your business. It's important to keep those trademark considerations in mind. Just because NFTs are something new and cool, it doesn't mean that you should neglect the fundamentals, right? And trademark protection is something that businesses should look at generally, right? And that includes obviously if you're operating in this space. And finally, patents. Patents are not, in general, the minting of an NFT is not going to give rights to patent rights. But however, if in the process of minting the NFT that you developed some new technique or created a new platform with some novel element, there could be. It's not impossible for there to be some patent rights implicated. But the most critical, I think, the development of NFT IP law is probably going to be mainly focused on copyright issues.
And maybe if I could talk in simple terms, because that's how my brain works on this, Fred. It calls to mind, you and I were in China in the early 2000s, and all of those shops, those pop-up shops with DVDs were for sale, right? And you could buy them for pennies. And so when you are in the NFT space, you need to think about which part of this transaction chain are you in, right? Are you the one that actually created the movie? Maybe. Are you the one that is at the table selling? Maybe. Are you a friend who's helping to hawk farther down the sidewalk, right? I mean, that's kind of how I think about this when I'm thinking, all right, so how far down the value chain are you in the terms of the actual creation of the IP within the NFT? If we're talking about actual physical artwork that's then reflected into the digital world, right? You can actually be the owner all the way down. And I would say a lot of companies aspire to be at that point, right? They want to take some of their existing content, they want to NFT it, and then they want to maybe tokenize it or at least just sell the NFTs. So that's how I think about this: is where are you actually fitting into the value chain and figuring, and that's step one. And then you can figure out, all right, what rights do I actually have in the NFT?
That's right. And I should add that the comparisons to other products, to other media, if you will, are generally useful, right? I think that even though NFTs are relatively novel, there is still, when you're trying to understand the fundamentals, it actually makes sense to do some comparisons. And I like the way you did that with the DVD, right? If you're in China, right? Are you the artist who has that legitimate copyright? Are you the person copying it, right? And it's the same thing with, there's a lot of different analogies out there, a lot of comparisons that can be very helpful, right? For example, for people who are having a hard time understanding the concept, just getting their heads around this concept of a unique copy. Well, if you take, let's say, you buy a genuine CD, maybe 20 years ago, right, when we were in China, I don't know, Backstreet Boys.
Or a comic book, right? Comic book with specific editions, numbered editions.
Exactly. So there could be multiple copies. And there are ways of basically formalizing that uniqueness. Now, the thing is, if you're buying a counterfeit CD, it's going to be very difficult for the person selling that to you to extract value from, saying, look, this is the 1 millionth copy of, the, Bob Marley CD that we burned here. However, even without jumping over to NFTs, let's just say that somebody told you, well, actually, this is the copy that Xi Jinping burned, one time when he was bored, when he was governor of Fujian. Well, all of a sudden, it's like, well, that's that has value that exceeds the actual. I mean, there's a million other burned CVDs, but that one, right, has that extra value. And if I can certify that, right, and in the case of NFTs, that's exactly what you're doing. It's just that you're doing it using a blockchain.